Afrique, et malheureusement Afrique sans fric. Oh, naso idée, naso idée, yendenika. Mais oui, c'est comme ça. Eh oui.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Now You Know podcast. Once again, it's going to be powered by our friends at SITM or Stuck in the Middle. You can check them out on IG on there. Um, and also, before we do get started, please make sure to check us out on Instagram at NYK Podcast or on Twitter at Now You Know One. And today, we have the lovely Queen K here with yours truly, Chef Carl. And we are actually joined by a very special guest, a good old friend of mine. I'll let him go ahead and introduce himself. And the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, so thanks for having me. First of all, my name is Hugh Bayard, living in Washington, D.C. I'm a Master's of Public Policy student, and I love the outdoors. I primarily hike, and I do a lot of cycling, particularly gravel cycling, and that type of outdoor recreation brings me closer to environmental issues. And so I'm looking forward to diving into this topic with y'all.
All right.
Yay.
Awesome, awesome. That sounds great. For any of y'all who like hiking and
I do.
cycling, I believe. Hugh is your guy. He's very known for, doing a lot of that stuff. Like once he sets his mind into it, I remember when he first started, this man just changed his whole life, man.
And just to plug my YouTube channel, if
Go
people are
ahead.
interested, you can find me on YouTube or Instagram at adventures_with_Hugh. That's HUGH. So go ahead and give me a subscribe
Yep.
and follow.
Yes, sir. And if you're trying to see somebody ride their bike from DC to Philly or whatever, like a little recap, that's the crazy guy right there that does that. So definitely fun stuff. I've checked them out, so please do go ahead and do the same. But go ahead, Karen. What are we talking about today? Let us know.
Today we are talking about Hawaii and the fires that's going on. We got to spread awareness of different things that's happening in this country. It's not always about Cameroon and Africa. We have to talk about it, but sometimes we have to step out and branch out a little.
I see you branching out with the new hairstyle.
Oh, yes. I just started my job. I just graduated from nursing school, officially a nurse
Congratulations.
now.
Wow.
Today, we were
Congratulations.
taking our employee pictures. I had to get my hair done. I had to look good for the pictures, and I did exactly just that. My picture is mwah, chef's kiss.
Okay. I'm surprised it fit in that ID card with your
Hush,
ego
hush.
like that.
I know my forehead looks so big right now. It's okay. I'm still cute.
Hey, that was never a question. But go ahead, let us know what caused the fires, if you can tell us. Do you know?
Before I can get to the fires, I just want to give a little background of Hawaii because I don't think a lot of people know about this because there's a lot of interesting facts. So Hawaii is located in the vast Pacific Ocean. The Polynesians people are the one that stumbled upon Hawaii around 900 AD. Before that, Hawaii had a population of 0. In 1978, that's when other countries had contact Hawaii. It was first by the British, by a conqueror named Cook. At that time, when Cook came, all the islands wasn't united. So Hawaii has islands within the island. Came, all the native Hawaiians started dying because the English brought some diseases and alcohol. The British is always bringing something to kill our people. And alcohol, because they never knew what alcohol was, so they just kept on drinking and drinking and drinking until they killed themselves with it. So they started off, the natives population was started off as 150,000, and then it declined to 71,000 after the British came. That's how much the disease and alcohol killed them. Hawaii eventually invited the Westerners to come to their island to help with their economy. because Hawaii is so isolated from everything. So it's hard to get like importation, visitors and whatnot. So they finally were like, you know what? Screw it. Let other people start coming. So in that's why Hawaii has a large population of Japanese. They are 40% of the Hawaii population is Japanese. 16% is Chinese. 17% is Western American, and 25% is Hawaii was annexed by America in 1898, so they're one of the most recent. I don't know if it's Alaska or Hawaii, but I believe it's Hawaii is the most recent state being added to America. They were annexed, but without the consent of America. So, and without the consent of the Hawaiian people. So literally, America just took Hawaii from their people without even asking. And they stripped away all their rights, their voting rights and everything like that. So the native people don't have voting rights at that time. That's why Hawaii has a lot of poverty. The native people have a lot of poverty because tourism is the main thing that brings the money, and they kicked them out of their own state. So Hawaii right now is in a crisis, but it's their not GDP, but their American household is $88,000, and that's mainly because, like I said, all the rich people live there. So that's about it, about the history.
Sorry, definitely appreciate the insight on a lot of the things. And I do know one of the other things that Hawaii is known for is also the observatories, like for NASA and stuff like that. They have a lot of the telescopes. So the island's also exploited for that as well, since the mountains are so high above the clouds, you get a direct line of sight to the stars. So another key point to that here. But in regards to like how the fire started, obviously we know it was what, the power company? Was that what it was?
Yes.
Wow, really? I mean, I've definitely learned a lot on that background, but
Yeah. What was it? Apparently, high winds led to some of the power cables, falling down, caused a spark. And obviously that started the whole fire situation. But there's a whole thing obviously out there that, it might be a conspiracy, or it might have been started, manually, or it might have been negligent, right? What do you guys think about that?
I believe the conspiracies. Don't laugh at me.
Okay.
I believe that the American government is the one that started the fires, because the American government has been wanting, like I said, to annex all the native people out of the island, especially Maui, to make it a more tourism place. Because ever since the fire started, um, the American government has been asking the natives if they can sell their land. And why would you ask to sell people's land in the midst of a fire? That is so inconsiderate. People are fighting for their lives. So, and some of the native peoples have been giving into it. Wait, the American people have been asking for their lands way back before the fire. And then when the fire started, they took advantage of it and then asked them again. And then finally, some of them are saying yes because they need the money, because the fire just burnt everything that they own. So I believe the conspiracy.
Question for you,
yeah.
Hugh.
I mean, yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
Nah, go ahead. So you give your thoughts and
No,
I'll ask
I
my
just
question.
no, that was an interesting question. And like, I know misinformation travels faster than the facts. And like I just learned tonight the calls, right? But if I'm thinking conspiracy, right?
Yep.
I'm thinking corporate mismanagement, right? And their role, and not just causing the fire here, but also contributing to a long list of climate disasters. I mean, you said a warehouse started a fire,
Nah,
right?
wild winds cause like power lines to
Oh, okay,
fall.
all right, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. I must have misheard that. But yeah, okay. What was your question?
So my question was, in regards to some of the reports, right, that came out, I think it was a couple weeks ago, that FEMA stepped in, and their budget essentially for the entire island was about 65 million, right? and that was basically went down to about $700 per person kind of thing. How do you feel about, the support that they've received from FEMA in regards to like the whole situation, and you can even compare it to like other past crises and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's a tough challenge for FEMA and the Biden administration to kind of step up. I'm not too sure of the political climate around Hawaii, but I think it's important for our federal leadership to kind of step in there and put grant funding as soon as possible, but also like think about the future and disaster preparedness and how can we mitigate this in the future. But also like, I think, Karen brought up some in the background brought up some really interesting like facts just about the equity and how there are huge wealth disparities and is between the indigenous people that live there and outsiders, conquerors, colonialists, like whatever we call them, they don't like they got money. And so
Yep.
now we need to think about how can the federal government help these people get back, right? I hear that many towns, jobs were lost.
Mhm.
Yep.
And so
Almost the
just
entire
thinking
island
about
was
it, right?
gone.
So I am a proponent of federal funding. I know we've seen historical levels with the Biden administration, like, addressing natural disasters. And I definitely think that the more the merrier in this situation. And, um, not just like appropriating the funds, but also using them effectively. Like they're going to have to send trucks, people to, I don't want to sound cliche, but build back
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, considering that, right? The budget, it says to rebuild the entire county, or pretty much like the entire town per se. It's set to be around 5.5 billion, and the US is offering assistance of about seven. It comes down to about $700 per person, right? So like, again, when you look at that disparity between how much it's going to cost for them to really fully rebuild and how much they're getting, and then if you also consider these are people who have lost their homes, right? And the average rent, like Karen
Yeah.
had alluded to before, in that island is about 3,500 per person, which if you had to buy a house is about $700,000 per se. So it's like, how do you think, that the government doing so little is helping, with this situation? And also, like, how is this power company also being held accountable by the government as well? Or do you think they should be held accountable by the government?
Yeah, I mean these are some tough questions, but can we look at how ironic it is right now that our government is about to shut down, and you're asking me about federal you're asking me
They're about
about
to
federal
shut
funding?
down again.
Yeah.
So yeah, like and so um yeah, the way you're framing it, yeah, the money, it seems like there could be a lot more, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you break it down per person like that. I think the most important thing is like, getting people in shelters, right? Getting people food, and that type of assistance. And then seeing where the funds are really needed to target building it
Hmm.
back. And like I said, I don't know too much about Hawaii and the makeup. So I don't have any specific ideas about grant funding programs. But I do know that like this current administration is all about putting like, Biden has appropriated uh, historical levels of federal funding programs in light of like, you know, responding to the pandemic and such, right? Um, and so what was your second question was about accountability.
Yeah.
Um, and and I think that's the hard part because initially I thought you were saying that a some type of corporation caused a fire, but the idea of like wind knocking down power lines and then that fire. So are some things that I guess we could do maybe to think about it in the future. And you know, that's to me, I think that like, okay, fire lines, right? The
Yeah.
idea of ensuring that there are clear spaces, because most wildfires, to my understanding, is caused by like dry shrubs, the mixture of climate change, like heat, and sometimes human activity
Yeah.
can cause these things. But I'm just saying, if you have a live fire line in a place, perhaps, maybe clear it out,
Yeah.
cut it down, clear, have those federal agencies, they, continue to cut the grass around it, that type of maintenance. I'm not sure how like far that can go.
Yeah.
But in my head,
So
it's
to add to your point, right? So based on this article from the New York Times today, the Maui County are suing, you know, this Hawaiian electric company, which is for-profit company. It's not like it's government-based or whatever. They're suing them, claiming intentional and malicious mismanagement of power lines, um, basically saying that they allowed the flames to spark. And then also other people are also filing several lawsuits on behalf of the victims, claiming that the utility people were also, at fault for everything, right? Like you mentioned before, things were not set for them to be able to withstand heavy winds, considering the area, and also, making sure that they were keeping the lines as safe as possible. So, you were right on the nail with that. I just wanted to throw that out there as you continue to finish your point.
yeah, I do think that they should pursue the like suing them in court, right? And not to render their employees out of
Yeah.
jobs. But you wonder, this company, is it a monopoly like most electrical
Mhm.
grids company? I don't, like I said, I don't know too much about the landscape, but I do think the state has the right to inquire that. Like, someone investigated it. They and again, we're in an era where we are trying to pass more green initiatives. And in America, frankly, we are behind some of the most developed and industrial nations at that. So I think it's important for them to continue to pursue, because it can open the window for more policy for this type of accountability and climate disaster prevention.
Yep. Definitely agree. Karen, any thoughts to that?
No, I just agree with it. I agree with everything that Hugh is saying. I'm just observing now because he knows best about the government for he listening.
All right.
Appreciate
So
that.
this will actually lead us to our next segment. And trust me, the second half of this is gonna be debate time because I know we're probably gonna disagree. And so let's kind of get into our first segment, right? Which is going to be our quotes, our African quotes. You guys ready? So this time we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to do two different quotes, right? Which is going to kind of represent a little bit of both sides to the argument that's coming up. So the first one is going to be gold should not be, oh, sorry, gold should be sold to the one who knows the value of it. And I'll repeat it for those in the back again. Gold should be sold to the one who knows the value of it. So before we get to the second quote, what do you guys think that, that means kind of?
Gold should be sold to the one who knows of it.
Who knows the value of it?
Yeah, and to me, that doesn't sound like a fair market. It sounds like a firm could take advantage of the people, right?
Yep.
And no one should have that much market power. So just hearing that quote, and that's all I know, it just doesn't sound fair to me.
You're right there. Yeah, no, you're right there. For sure. For sure. Karen, what do you think?
Honestly, I don't know.
Hey, just see this Mumu girl. Where? So that big brain of yours, that big head, there's no sense to make sense of
No,
this African quote.
there's sense. It's just today was a jam-packed day,
Mm,
head hurts. as Hugh said, braids looks tight, so
Ah,
it's caught my
gotcha,
thinking.
gotcha. But
Well,
yeah,
I
Hugh
also
was.
want to follow up though. Like,
Go ahead.
I might have misinterpreted the first time around.
No.
If the quote is suggesting that like someone misplaces the value of gold, like they don't know how to use it, they don't value it, I can see the quote differently.
Yeah. So essentially, it's like, and again, we can use gold or we can use anything in place of that, right? So if you're going to be, ideally, you want to be selling to someone who knows exactly what they're being sold and how much it's worth. Because that way, if not, then you're essentially taking advantage of people. Because if they don't have the knowledge, they don't know the value. So I can literally sit there and have you buy something or sell you something or sell you a dream or sell you a plan, and you might not even know what to do with it, where it's a setup for, a bigger takeover or something else. So you're definitely right on track with that. And this kind of leads us to the second side of the argument, right? Which is our second quote. And this is actually by Malcolm X. I'm sure HB is very familiar with this. Go ahead. And it says, education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. And I'll repeat it one more time. Pretty much just the second part, because really the second part is really what matters, right? But let's just do the whole thing regardless. Education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. And again, it's by Malcolm X. So, how does that resonate with y'all? And we can kind of tie it
I'm
into
gonna
the
let
previous
Karen go
quote.
first. This is
Yeah.
this is Brother Malcolm.
So say the ending part. Tomorrow
Man
is
said, man said, this is Brother Malcolm. Yeah. All right. Education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today.
So it's pretty much saying that the last part that God help me. I know what I'm trying to say, but I can't say it properly. So just bear with me. So people that plan ahead, pretty much. So you always have to plan ahead of things before it happens. So like, for example, a savings account, right? You have a savings account, you have enough money they say you're supposed to have 3 months worth of, help me, 3 months worth
rent.
of,
Savings.
yes,
Yeah.
you're supposed to have 3 months worth of rent savings for just in case something happens tomorrow. So it's just like people who are educated, knowledgeable, are understand what they need to do so that they can move ahead for the next day and they're ready for it and prepared for it.
Yeah, I agree, and I'll just basically piggyback on that. Yeah, I mean, you look at like the society that we live in, right? Like, how social media hit us hard. We went from, I don't know, I'm 31, so we went from like
Ew, you're old.
AOL instant
Oh,
messaging.
these kids, man. These kids. Oh, man.
You guys
I
are
don't know if you know
old.
AOL instant messaging, but like we went from there to like video chat. I mean, we can go back to MySpace
Yep.
to like where people are watching like 15-second videos, like hundreds of them at a time.
Yeah.
Like it's just, but moreover, like we definitely need to be preparing for like globalism and how that changes your market competitiveness, like going to school, but not to just uh like be in the system, but understand like for example, like generative AI like is out now, and people can either take advantage of it or kind of just sit on the sidelines. But I really do think that learning and education should be about like adapting to the future and like you know pushing it forward.
I agree. So if I had to interpret this right a little bit, I would simply just say, like, look, it's our job to prepare ourselves as best as we can for the future, and knowledge is power. So we need to educate ourselves, whether it's school, trade, or just learning on the fly, things like that, right? It's understanding. And to tie it into the above aforementioned quote, right, where it says gold should be sold to the one who knows the value of it, I would say again, Malcolm X is spot on in regards to educating yourself right now and preparing yourself, because come the future you'll be able to understand a little bit more,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to understand the value of a lot of things, right? So the
And
reason why I brought yeah, go ahead.
I also want to text on a little bit of context of what like Malcolm could probably be like alluding to. You know, Malcolm, they were fighting a vicious system of racism, right?
Yep.
And which we still are today. But they saw how racism was changing in front of them as the civil rights moved forward. They
Yep.
saw how once we would get certain rights in one area, then boom, the next area rights, will be either getting undermined or there'll be another type of system or structural barrier to like undermine the civil rights pursuit, right? So I also think Brother Malcolm was like really alluding to that fact that like we are in a system that you seek to fix one thing, another thing's gonna pop up, like and
Yep.
you really got to be prepared for it because they can burn down your house, lynch you then, but what do they do now? What ways do lynching manifest, right? And now we see like police brutality, literally those are lynchings, right? Modern day lynchings. And so I just wanted to say that just because I think that like Malcolm X will be proud if I said that,
Hey, nah. And again, he might be proud of some of some of the next things that we're about to discuss, depending on your point of view, or he might not be. Who knows? But either way, he fought for us to be able to make these decisions, right? As we are right now, and to sit where we're at right now. So hey, regardless of that, he should be proud of himself. But the reason for these quotes, right, is to kind of tap the next question, right? So as Karen mentioned before, we have like different investors and different realtors and people like that offering people to buy their land, buy their homes and stuff like that, right? Yes, they're offering the current market value of what the current homes were, blah blah blah, which in a sense does help those victims, for lack of a better word. Don't know how else to explain it. Or those affected, let me not say victims, I hate that word. Those affected by the fires, right? Where they would be able to get, quite a huge lump sum directly, where their lives can, somewhat immediately change for the better. And they would obviously have to relocate and move somewhere else, right? But do you think that it's one, ethical for them to do at this time? Or just in general, how do you feel about that? How do you guys feel about that?
No, I hate it. It's just like
Okay.
kicking somebody when they're down.
Okay.
Like they are currently at their lowest, and you're coming to them and saying, "Hey, I know your house is burnt down. I know you probably lost some family members. I know you just lost all your memories, but look, can I get your house real quick?" Like, that's rude in my opinion. Like, it's just rude. Instead, you should be asking, "Hey, how can I help you to rebuild your house? I know this is your land. I know this means so much to you." But they're not doing that. They're so focused on the market and how this is the perfect time to invest. It's just like when the stock market crashes, that's the best time to buy all the stocks and everything like that, because
Yeah.
by the time it shoots back up, you gain so much money. So this is like the stock market in the sense of Maui. It's crashing right now. Best time to invest, so that by the time it gets fixed and everything, and you start putting tourism, all these nice buildings and whatnot, all that money is coming back to the investors. So they're not thinking about the people whatsoever. They're thinking about their pockets.
Okay.
Wow.
Hugh, what do
Yeah,
you think?
uh thanks for that. I mean, that perspective is yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it is like kicking someone when they're down, like you said. Yeah, this but it goes to say, like Karen was saying, the market, right? I think that the market is vicious like this. It is concerned primarily about profits. And that's cool if you're a financial investor, or like, if that's your life, right? I'm not gonna knock somebody's, but but thinking about the issue though, I think it would be tough. What it does, it makes me think also about insurance companies, right? And it makes me think about the idea that these natural disasters are going to continuously happen, whether it's a wildfire or a flood, right? And now we see insurance companies positioning themselves to make sure that they're not, having to pay out
Yep,
these like you know what I'm saying? They're like
I
they
know
understand.
firsthand.
And it's like I guess you kind of and I don't want to say the victim but like it's like almost insurance in the market is like blaming the victim. It's like, okay, I want to move next to the water, but if I move next to the water, I might lose my home. uh you know there's so much insurance loopholes that disproportionately impact the wealthy, like that those are usually who are eligible for it, like they have the most ability to pay for some of these insurance plans, whereas like if you're what I'm thinking, like an indigenous person living in Hawaii, an everyday person, it might really be enticing to take that lump sum of money right now. you know um you're in the midst of a disaster, there's no way to look. Um but like you're saying, it's just pretty sad because these are these people's homes. And I think they should stay despite the geographic makeup of it and the idea that there might be disasters. um but yeah, this is definitely a tough question here.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate, right? I know
I knew
Karen.
you were. I was just about to say,
Of course,
Carson, do your thing.
of course. Because again, you're saying that they're taking advantage of these people, right? So help me understand. You have people who don't have much at the moment, right? Because they've lost everything due to the fires and things like that, right? They don't have much. Let's say I'm an investor. I'm looking to change my life fully in the future. This can set up not just my family, it can set up my peers and everyone else, my community for generational wealth as well. I have to look out for me, right?
Mhm.
But you're saying I'm taking advantage of you. You have nothing. I'm offering you something. I'm giving you a lot more than the government who you pay taxes to, the government who you owe your allegiance to,
Yeah.
or pledge your allegiance to, whatever. I'm doing more than they're doing. I'm giving you a lump sum that can significantly change your life at that very moment. And all I'm asking for you is to leave your home. Yes, it's a huge asking price, but I'm also giving you a huge amount and I'm also helping you where, no one else is really helping you, right? Because I'm giving you money where you can literally just go and buy another
Yeah.
house somewhere else for a lot cheaper. So to me, when you're saying that I'm taking advantage of you, I'm looking at you helping me help you, help me.
Yeah.
It's an even trade, in my opinion.
Yes, it is an even trade because, like you said, it's definitely helping the family relocate and get their life together. But it's the intent. The investor's intent is not pure. It's not wholeheartedly, I want to help this people. Their intent is, I'm looking at this in an investor way and I'm trying to fill up my pockets. So that's what's bothering me. If it was like pure intention of, okay, like I said in the beginning, let me help you rebuild your house and all that stuff, then I'll be like, okay, they're good people. But the intention is not that. The intention is to relocate them so that they can make more money. So
Yeah.
it's good that they're giving them money so they can relocate, but it's like at one point, like I said, 98% of Hawaii is owned by landowners, not by the natives. So you're pushing these people out of their land that they barely even own themselves. Where can they truly go?
Yeah.
Because like I said, Jeff Bezos, Oprah, like 3 people own 100% of a land and one person owns 98% of a small island. Where can
Mm.
these people truly go if they don't
Mm.
even own their own land?
Yeah.
Well, I would say
Well,
700K of cash, you can find a place to go somewhere
and
outside of
I
Hawaii.
know, but you're taking that's their
yeah.
memories. Like if somebody were to come, God forbid, if this
Yeah.
my childhood house were to burn down, I wouldn't be thinking, yay, thank you for the 700. Now I can relocate somewhere else. No, it hurts. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, you can
Yeah,
relocate
this
and
is
you can come
tough.
back and rent from me at a higher
Yeah,
That
price.
makes
so
it even worse. If I own that land and now I own this house and now I have to come and rent it, are you kidding me? Oh,
now, you
God.
know what? I kind of want to be a devil's advocate to you, Carlson.
Go
Let's
ahead.
say if there was a natural disaster in Cameroon,
Mhm.
right? Your
Yep.
hometown, right? And the French came in and invested heavily in that home. Now I'm asking you,
Mhm.
would you take that money? And I know you might say, yeah, I would take it, and I'm
Okay.
gonna invest in my family. I'm gonna, but I just, for the sake of
Yeah. So it depends, I would say. I really can't sit here and say it's a black and white situation. It really just depends on what my plans are and what I think I can achieve with that money. So I have to
Mm.
weigh out the pros and the cons. Is that amount of money that I do get, how much more ROI can I get from that? Right? Because I'm going to consider that an investment. It depends on also how I'm set up, how much taxes do I have to pay on that and stuff like that. If I have a family, okay, where can my family stay in the meantime while I work on doing certain things? Now, if I'm not set up financially or not set up with the knowledge, again, tying back to the quote, right? I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with that, or if I think my land is a lot more than what they're offering, of course I'm going to say no. But if I think my land is worth less than what they're offering, or if they're giving me, adequate value for it, then hey, by all
Yeah.
means, I'm going to sell. But it
But
really
this
just
goes
seems
back to
about what makes sense to me. Yeah.
this goes back about the education part. Most people are not educated about how much their land is worth. If you come and ask me right now, Karen, how much is your house worth? I would tell you I don't know. If somebody comes here and says, Karen, here's 100K for your house, me myself, I'll sit here and be like, okay, I think that's how much
Cash?
my house is worth, but you can easily take advantage of me because I have no clue how much is worth.
And whose
Yeah.
fault is
Even
that?
if you give me that money, yes, people are going to say, oh, invest it, go do all of this and that. People don't know how to invest their money.
Mhm.
Half of these people in this world do not know how to invest. It's mainly a white man thing. And that's why I'm getting into it, because I'm going to be a rich woman. But
Hey.
besides the fact, but half of the people don't know how to invest their money. You can, like with the gold and the value of it, you can give somebody 100K. They don't know the value of what 100K can do for them if you can flip it. So that's why I said this is terrible, because they're taking advantage of them at the end of the
Right.
day.
And again, whose fault is that? Is that the
So,
investor's fault?
so, no, it's not. And because that's just how the market operates, right? You have the right to do that, right? But I would call it predatory, right? To an
is.
extent, right? And you're talking about the lack of education in some communities. Well, I think let's say if you're not an investor and you are in fact moving forward, you're not buying my property, but you're probably going to take my neighbors or whatever. I think some of the things that we need to think about is partnerships with the state and zoning. Like, are you going to be putting affordable housing there? Like,
Mm-mm.
like what you doing? Are you going to be working with disaster preparedness? Are you going to build up the same houses, right? That's going to get blown
Mhm.
away or maybe burned and also I would want like a little transparency about your investing, right? I know you said you're invested in your family, and
Yeah.
I would take you as a community man if you are a community man, but I would just want to ensure a consortium of like, you're gonna rebuild and keep in mind the context of the community before you arrive. Um, because the same thing happens in like I live in Washington D.C. and we all know this story about some of our cities, gentrification, right?
Yep.
People have been promised that they're gonna get their spaces back. Black people, like, we're gonna rebuild this development, and next thing you know, the development is built but rents three
Yep.
thousand a month.
Once
It's
that
like
Starbucks comes in, that's it.
not everyone can be like a top consultant, right?
Yeah.
Pulling like
Gentrification.
180.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So Wow, that's a
So, I mean, you're absolutely right, right? Well, again, and it ties back to the quote, right? Education. So, if yes, I'm coming in to buy, you can ask questions. You can be educated as to like how you can make the best decision, right? You can literally have things in writing, like saying, like, okay, cool. If you're buying this, these things need to happen within a certain amount of time. You can literally hold me accountable to giving back to your community in specific ways, right? We can talk about that. We can
can tax you.
write things down.
N-
Yeah, we can talk about
It's
different things, but
harder.
it's not. Go ahead.
It's harder said than done because, like I said, these people could be uneducated. You can ask me all the questions you want, but once I write that on that paper and start writing like little in the fine print things that you don't know about, because I told myself in the future, once I start getting money, I'm hiring a lawyer to read my contracts
Hmm.
because I know
Yes.
daggone well me, I will miss things and I don't understand because they
Right.
say things in fancy words that most people cannot understand. Like
Yeah,
me, I don't have a broad vocabulary. If you start saying
we know.
like God knows what, fight me. If you start saying God knows what, I'm going to sit there and look at you like what, but I'm not uneducated. I just don't have a broad vocabulary and you can
Yeah.
easily take advantage of me if you write those broad vocabularies within that contract. So yes, I can sit down and ask questions and whatnot, but the investors can still at the same time lie to you, and when that contract comes, like I said, the fine print, you got to read everything. And most people cannot read everything and understand everything. So that's what I'm saying.
You
So
know, the
Karen,
sad part about it is like the people in the community can be undereducated, but Carlson, as an investor, he can go around the people and lobby the politicians. If he had that money, he could invest
yeah,
millions of dollars to sway public opinion. And you know, and that's the hard part. And I think another way to combat that, and I hope these communities in light of disaster are coming together, but it's community engagement. Like
yes.
you know, the communities, they're gonna have to really think about this, right? Like, what do they want out of it, and who's gonna invest in it? But I definitely don't believe that you have a small vocabulary because you came out of nursing school, and I remember taking an anatomy and physiology class and just failing it. Like, just I just
Oh man. She cheated her way through school. It's like, nah, I'm playing. She has sense. She has sense. She has sense. But Karen, to add to your point, or to not add, to refute your point a little bit, right? I'm pretty sure, don't completely quote me on that. I'm pretty sure whenever you're buying and selling a house, you do have a lawyer. Your realtor, at least if you have a realtor, they provide you with a lawyer. So you do have that resource where you can ask those questions, where you can read through the fine print, or have someone else read through the fine print and educate you on it. It's just up to you as the individual to speak up and raise certain points and ask questions and have them elaborate more before you sign on those dotted lines. So, and
But do
again,
they know that you supposed to get a lawyer? Because just because it's in the law that you're
no,
supposed
you're
to
with
have
them.
these.
You sit with them. When you go to like sell, your lawyer is there. You have to sign paperwork with your lawyer. When you go to buy, same thing. I had to meet a lawyer and he was like, okay, I think this is set. And then I was able to sign. Like you have access to one. Or even if you don't, you can literally just say, hey, look, I'm looking to sell my house. I need a lawyer. I guarantee you 1,000 lawyers will hit you up because they get some of that commission too as well. They're not doing you a favor. They're working for you. So if you choose to not employ someone to work for you, again, that comes back to your education and you should be doing the research. We're in the 21st century. Like this is 2023. We have access to a lot of different things.
But you
Like,
fail to realize not everybody has access to electricity, to the internet, and whatnot.
well,
Just because, yes, we do have, yes, because people fail to realize this and it frustrates me. We are privileged. We have those things. Not everybody has access to Google, to libraries, to books. So you can easily take advantage of some of these people if they do not have these resources. So, yes, Google is out there and whatnot, but who is to say that they do or do not have it?
I would bet to say they do, considering they're living in a 700K house on average.
Sir, just because you
That's
live
all
in
I
a
would say.
seven,
I'm just saying.
no,
Hey,
no, I don't think so. But I'm not gonna fight you on this one because I don't have the breath and the energy, and I have
no,
to
I
be.
didn't. Again, I'm
He's
simply
devil's
saying if I
advocate.
had to bet, I would say that. But again, You are absolutely right, right? But again, ethical or not ethical, I think it depends on where you're standing on, right? Because if I see this personally as a life-changing opportunity for me, and I truly think I'm helping you, to me, that's ethical, and you're helping me. But like you said, I can simply just go above you if I have enough money and go to somebody else and try to get their property or just put that bug in their ear, like, hey, look, we can change your life, and then go to the local politicians and have them set up different laws, to make things easier for me to buy. There are other
Hmm.
ways around it, right? But again, ethical or not ethical, who's to say?
Me.
Oh
Yeah.
man. All right. So moving on from this, right? And this is probably gonna be the last thing we do talk about. How do you think this like directly is gonna impact, how life goes on, not just for them in Hawaii, but also us in general, in regards to not just like the whole climate situation, but also like, with the disaster relief, if you guys, as you guys mentioned before, and just how it's going to impact, our climate, our government, or not a government, our economy, et cetera, et cetera.
Um, yeah, so I think reflecting on like just natural disasters, particularly wildfires, um, it 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 makes me want to appreciate climate change and environment much more, just because like it is vulnerable, but also some of these things are natural, like the idea that indigenous people understood these systems, and in fact, they used to create their own fires to nourish the land. I don't know too much about that, um, but like I really do hope that federal government, states, and local leaders are putting together like ready preparedness, evacuation, sorry, plans, um, emergency funding opportunities, and piggybacking from your last question, equitable like responses to how do we invest in a community, how do we build it back in a way that reflects the same community and the same values with the same historical importance there. But I do hope that listeners can listen into this and like also take climate change seriously, to understand that like we're young, we're going to be paying for the consequences of natural disasters when we're older. Some of our national parks are not going to look the same. Some might not even exist. Our hurricanes perhaps may
Yep.
get worse and worse. If you like Florida, like
There won't be
it,
any soon.
and we're not fear mongering here, right? Like it's just in the research. It's just something that we're grappling with. We know that more and more people are dying, but also like we talked just a little bit about it, but natural disasters is costing us, like our government, billions of dollars, like billions of dollars, right? So for people who are deficit hawks and like don't like federal spending, they would probably and should invest in prevention, and that's where I would leave it. Just the idea that these natural disasters kind of it like shares how important this stuff is. It can't really ignore it, because you're going to be grappling with the consequences at some point.
This man said, I can't hike in the next 20 years if things go the same way.
Right, like I've been hiking every time I'm hiking this year, whether it's like my last time in Montana.
Yeah,
Uh,
the smoke.
yeah, you pay airport, all this stuff. You go to the national park early because it is popping out. Like a lot of people want to
Yeah,
go to these national parks. You gotta wake up hella early,
early. Yeah,
and you get there and it's just a breath of smoke. And your
yeah,
views are undermined by a cloud of smoke because of Canada wildfires were
yeah.
impacting this area. And so it's it's tough, right? These are more and more occurrences, and what can we do about it? I think it's small incremental changes, but also like getting into advocacy, learning about it, um, making sure like what we're doing. Hope everyone's driving Teslas now. I don't know.
I know, right? I have one last question for you, Karen, and HB, you can chime in after that if you want to. How do you feel about the coverage that this received? Again, someone who really doesn't necessarily pay attention to a lot of things online, or I don't really watch TV like that. What have you seen in regards to like the coverage, for this compared to like other not just natural disasters, but also just other life-changing events going on around the world, especially, compared to like some of the less privileged people, even lesser privileged people, back home.
Well, I think I'm the worst person to ask this question, but I'm still gonna answer. Because I don't really have a lot of social medias, but I did hear about I don't have any social media except for Snapchat, but I heard about like Dwayne Johnson and Oprah Winfrey asking people to donate to help for the fire, which I think is ridiculous because Oprah owns land and she's a billionaire. Why are you asking us in this economy to help with the fire when we can barely afford to buy groceries when you have billions of dollars and you can help save some lives? But that's none of my business. I mean, it is, but
Is she not donating as well?
huh?
Is she not donating as well?
How would I know? But why are you asking us? Don't ask me. This
Like,
economy is terrible
I
right
think
now.
Oprah gets a pass, bro. Oprah, come on, she be doing a lot.
Oprah do a lot. Like first of all, I am not gonna say anything negative about a black woman at this given time.
I
But
like you.
Here we go.
Carlton,
Here we
please
go.
teach
Here we
Carlton
go.
because he
Here
will
we
talk
go.
all
I
negative
call
about
I
women.
call a spade a spade. If I see something positive, I call it out. If I see something negative, it will be called out as well.
Huge, me and you can be friends, okay?
Yeah, for real.
So
But
me and you
I
are not
like
friends. You young.
You bought me shoes, so we're friends.
Man, do you like them?
I do actually. I'm planning it for one outfit when I go to DC because my plan
Okay.
is to get me somebody's
Okay.
son when I
Hey, just
go out there.
first pair of J's.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, go ahead,
Uh,
Hugh. We got
yeah,
sidetracked by
so
this country
I'm kind
girl.
of like in the same boat. Like I have social medias, but it's not like I follow the news. But I did hear about like Oprah and The Rock asking, and people were quite upset about that. One of the things that I saw too was a frustration around like people wanting to visit. Um, like people were kind of not respecting the idea that people face tragedy. And I think it's the idea. And it might just be the makeup that people own plenty vacation homes there, and like it's the idea that this is a retreat, not indigenous people's home, like their culture, like rich history, but a place for wealthy Americans to
Yeah.
travel and sit on the beach. And so I think it people by large were just like, oh, my vacation spot got destroyed. I can't wait till they build it back and we out there. Because I saw people posting like, you know, don't don't go to, like, they were like talking maybe to like journalists and photographers, like stay home, like we don't need any more like journalists and these like 5K graphic photos of this place, like you're not helping. um and maybe that sheds light on what happens when indigenous lands, people of color are the butt of climate disaster, right? It's the response is often different, and maybe you brought it up earlier about the lack of federal funding that is proportionate to like how much we need to recover. So I mean that's all I got on that topic.
All right. No worries. I mean, I think it's kind of, again, just to kind of draw a curtain to close here. There has been a lot of coverage for someone like I said, I don't watch TV. Karen, you're barely on socials anyways. Same, Hugh, yes, you are on socials, but kind of focusing on different things. We still all found a way to hear about this, so it kind of shows that, the coverage is everywhere. The moment I glance on any TVs when I go to a store or something, I'm seeing the coverage there. So it's widespread. Just, again, there are a lot of people donating their time, traveling out there to help volunteer to, build stuff. So if you can do that, go ahead and do that. Obviously, I think FEMA has like links where you can go ahead and, donate. So those are available. I would just say that, charity begins at home. For those of you who are Native Hawaiians, go ahead and, try to spread the awareness. For some of us who are here, we do live here. This is our home now, even though we're from the motherland. If we can help, let's go ahead and help out. But just wish, the same effort is reciprocated when a lot of the things do go on back in Africa. As far as like, civil wars going on here and there. Obviously there's been several coups d'etats going on right now. People
Nigeria.
are stepping up. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that another day.
Because
Maybe
I'm like,
if you want to
that
talk
needs to
about,
be a podcast. We
policies
definitely need
and
to
stuff
speak
like
about
that,
that
we can
one.
definitely,
Oh, wow.
bring you back for that. But yeah, so with that being said, again, ethical or not ethical, we don't know. All we know, things happen to people which were not very good, very unfortunate. If we can help, let's help, please. If not, let's just, spread
Prayers.
awareness.
Pray.
Prayers as well would work. But with that being said, this brings us to a close. And this has been another episode of Now You Know Podcast featuring Karen, Hugh,
It's not
and
Karen. They don't
myself.
know me as Karen. Say well.
I'm
What's my
sorry.
name?
Queen K. I
Thank you.
apologize. Queen K, Hugh, and myself, Chef Carl. Before we go, Hugh, you trying to throw in your socials again and your YouTube so that way they can check it out?
Oh yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, so you can catch me at adventures_with_Hugh. I'm on Instagram and YouTube, and my content is related to outdoor recreation, gravel cycling, hiking, running, all the things. So, just catch me on my journeys, and I hope you enjoy.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And while you're following Hugh, check us out at NYK Podcast on Instagram, as well as Now You Know One on Twitter. And with that being said, we out. Catch you another time. Peace.
They are.
Hey.